Hi everyone and welcome back to the Shack, and if you're the owner of a new Commodore 64 Ultimate or like me have an Ultimate Elite 2 and you're sick of the algorithm throwing things at you every day, stick around because I'm going to show you how you can fall back in love with being online. I'd like to take a moment to thank the sponsor for the channel, PCBWay. They manufacture high quality printed circuit boards ideal for restoring and recreating vintage hardware or bringing a new project to life. PCBWay also offer a fantastic PCB design service to help turn your ideas into proper working PCBs. Throw in 3D printing, CNC machining, amazing quality, fast turnaround and sensible pricing and you've got the PCBWay. Right. Now on with the show. Okay, before we start, I see the irony of it likely being an algorithm that led you to this video, but bear with me. You see, for a short period in computing history, going online was a very deliberate act, and one that needed some time and planning, and often the permission of other members of the household. You dialed a telephone number, or rather your computer did, and if you were lucky and the line wasn't busy, you entered an online world. That world existed because of Bulletin Board Systems, BBSs. Now, with the release of the Commodore 64 Ultimate and renewed attention on the Commodore name under the modern Commodore company led by retro enthusiast and creator Chris Simpson, BBSs are quietly finding themselves relevant again to a growing group of new C64 owners, not as a novelty, but as a genuine alternative way of being online. Firstly, a bulletin board system was not an early website. That comparison misses the point. The BBS was a place hosted on a single machine, usually in someone's bedroom or spare room, connected to the outside world by a phone line. One user could connect at a time, sometimes two if the owner was wealthy or reckless. When you logged in, you entered their world. They held the grandiose title of System Operator, or SysOp for short. The SysOp chose what message boards existed, which files could be downloaded, which games were installed, and what behaviour was tolerated. There were no anonymous platforms, no corporate moderation teams, no algorithms deciding what you saw. If you caused trouble, the SysOp kicked you off, probably permanently. As the web emerged in the mid-1990s, BBSs didn't suddenly stop existing, but their numbers dwindled as those sysops joined the internet age and left their old machines to collect dust in the corner. BBSs were simply overtaken by scale. After all, websites allowed thousands of users simultaneously, email had replaced local message boards, and user forums had centralised discussions. But in achieving this level of access and scale, something subtle had been lost. You see, BBSs were kind of slow, yes, but that slowness encouraged reading and participation, not just endless consumption. Today's internet is limitless, with users hidden by layers of anonymity and so much information that it's easy to get pulled down the rabbit hole. BBSs were finite and tended to be based around a hobbyist theme and were largely owned by individuals who managed it for the love of it. If you were into fishing, for example, you'd find a BBS that would connect you to other people who like fishing or camping or cooking or tea towels. But here's the good news. Today, there are over 1,000 active BBS systems still online, accessible via Telnet and SSH. Some still run on vintage hardware, but they're mostly hosted on modern infrastructure, yet they still feel unmistakably like BBSs. Menus, message boards, door games and text art. The technology evolved, but the culture stayed the same. Retro hardware has been enjoying a resurgence for years, but much of it has been inward-facing: games, demos, preservation, nostalgia. The Commodore 64 Ultimate shifts that significantly because this isn't just a brand new machine designed to run old software, it's a machine designed to exist in the present, and it's selling in significant enough numbers to be making an impact. With modern video output, storage and importantly built-in connectivity, it restores something the original Commodore 64 was already flirting with in the 1980s, being a proper networked personal computer. And that makes BBSs feel like the natural companion. A Commodore 64 connecting to a BBS isn't pretending to be modern, far from it. There's an unexpected parallel between the BBS era and today. In the 1980s, computers were personal and networks were rare. Now in the 2020s, networks are everywhere, but personal spaces are rare. Modern online platforms optimise for engagement, information, consumption and money, lots and lots of money. BBSs are inherently different. They offer small, bounded communities, clear rules and expectations, human moderation, very little if any monetization and no algorithms. You don't doom scroll endlessly on a BBS. You log in, check messages, maybe download a file, maybe play a game, and then you leave. The system doesn't chase you when you're gone. And in an era of constant digital pressure, that restraint feels almost radical. A modern BBS isn't a museum containing eons old information that you can just as easily find on any number of websites. Log in today and you'll likely find active message boards discussing retro computing and modern life, file libraries containing new and classic software, door games still being played competitively, Petsky and ANSI art created this year, and developer boards where new software is written for old machines. Some boards are highly technical, some are playful, and some feel like a pub you've quietly returned to after years away. They're not trying to compete with Discord or Reddit, they're doing something different. Conversations are slower, posts are more considered and personal. People assume good faith because the cost of being disruptive is high. BBS culture rewards curiosity, patience and contribution. You're not going to go viral on a BBS. In many ways, BBSs predicted modern online communities, but avoided many of their worst failures. The Commodore 64 Ultimate arrives at an interesting cultural moment. People are tired of infinite feeds, disposable content and hostile online spaces. At the same time, they're rediscovering hobbyist computing, physical hardware, community-driven systems. And BBSs sit perfectly at that intersection. They remind us that being online doesn't have to mean being overwhelmed, that community doesn't need scale to be meaningful, and that sometimes fewer users can create better conversations. Okay, this isn't a mass revival. BBSs will never replace the modern internet, and they don't need to. What we're seeing instead is a quiet renaissance. People rediscovering an older way of connecting, enabled by new hardware, modern networking, and a renewed interest in personal computing. The Commodore 64 is going online again, not to chase the future, but to reclaim a past that still has something important to teach us. Now, if you want to check out some BBSs on your Commodore 64 Ultimate, just follow these simple steps. Open your C64 Ultimate menu by pressing the multifunction switch upwards. Use the W and S keys to move the selection to Wi-Fi network setup and press the return key. Move to select AP from list and press return. Your C64 Ultimate will scan for local wireless access points, then display a list. Select your wireless access point and press return, then select connect and press return again. You'll be asked for your password, so pop that in and press return. Press run stop to return to the Wi-Fi network setup menu, and all being well, at the bottom of the screen your status should say link up, and connected to indicates your selected access point. Okay, so far. Again, open the C64 Ultimate menu and select modems. Ensure the modem interface is set to ACIA/SwiftLink, that ACIA 6551 mapping is set to DE00/NMI. Ensure hardware mode is set to SwiftLink, and exit the menu. Save the settings to flash memory when you're prompted. Now, get hold of a copy of CCGMS Future, there's a link in the description to where you can get that, and load it up as you would any other software. Once in CCGMS Future, press your F7 function key to bring up your dialer configuration. Keep pressing the M key on your keyboard until your modem type is Swift/Turbo DE. Keep pressing the B key on your keyboard until the baud rate is 19,200. Then press the A key on your keyboard to get to the phone book. Press E to edit the first entry in the list, and we'll use the old net as our example. So put the old net as the name, the oldnet.com as the IP, and 6400 as the port. Press return through the ID and password prompts, and then press A to dial the selected phone book entry. All being well, you'll find the old net BBS springing to life on your screen. Why not have a quick game of tic-tac-toe while you're here? There are hundreds and hundreds of BBSs available, and I've left links in the description to a couple of sites that list them. Now, it's important to remember that while we've concentrated on the Commodore 64 Ultimate here today, mostly due to the fact there are a lot of new owners out there, BBSs are protocol based, not machine based, so most if not all BBSs can be accessed by most computers, old and new. You'll find terminal software for Atari 8-bit systems, the Spectrum Next, BBC Micros, Apple IIs and so on. Most older computers will have an RS-232 serial port, so grab yourself a Wi-Fi modem, some terminal software and rejoin the BBS Renaissance. You'll be glad you did. I hope you've enjoyed that. If so, please do hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. We really do appreciate every single one of you that take the time to do so. If you're a regular viewer and want to help out, perhaps consider becoming a member of the channel to help us keep making videos like this. Okay, I'm off to try and beat this blooming BBS at tic-tac-toe, and until next time in the shack, it's goodbye from me.